Welcome to My Business Matters, the Michigan Chamber Podcast.
Welcome to My Business Matters. I'm Jim Holcomb, President and CEO of the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. Today's conversation is part of our Leadership Lens series, where we focus on leaders from across Michigan industries and communities to learn about their journeys, leadership philosophies, and the experiences that have shaped them into the leaders they are today. This time around, I'm joined by Amy McMillan. She's the CEO of the Huron-Clinton Metroparks, for a conversation about leadership, culture, the evolving role of parks and outdoor recreation play in Michigan, and building a stronger Michigan for all. Amy, welcome.
Thank you.
I was trying to figure out, okay, how do we start this conversation? There's so much to go to. And I think the best way is, what do you do? Like, what is a Metro Park and what is your role?
So I am the CEO of the Huron-Clinton Metroparks, and the Metroparks are a regional park system. We are the largest regional park system in the state of Michigan. We have 14 parks set in 5 different counties, 25,000 acres of amazing, incredible parkland. We have golf courses and nature centers and aquatic centers. We have hundreds of miles of trails. We are, I think, the Metro Parks are everything you think about when you think about a great park system.
They're part of Michigan's pure Michigan, that outdoor recreation space, that green space, that activity with family and friends.
We are exactly pure Michigan.
And where does the name come from, Huron-Clinton Metroparks, and how are they all tied together? Are they in separate spots? Is there a connection point?
So the name Huron-Clinton comes from the fact that the Huron and the Clinton rivers are kind of the central spine of the Metroparks system. And so part of our park system is centered along the Huron River and its tributaries, and the rest is along the Clinton River and its tributaries. And then, of course, we have lakefront on the Great Lakes with Lake Erie Metro Park and Lake St. Clair Metro Park. If you are looking for just everything that nature and the outdoors has to show you, you can come to a Metro Park and find it there.
Oh, they're wonderful places. I used to go to Kensington a lot, my family, and we still do that. And just because you can bike, you can do something on water, you can boat, you can hike, you can play ball, you can get ice cream, it's everything you think of a fun, relaxing summer day. We've had the great weather lately, and it's where people are enjoying themselves.
It absolutely is. You know, we have 7.5 million visitors at the Metro Parks every single year.
Oh, wow. That's a big economic development tool for Michigan.
Thank you. Absolutely, it is. Parks are economic development, and the Metro Parks are a critical part of the economic infrastructure of the communities we serve. Yeah,
we talk a lot about, at the Michigan Chamber of Commerce with our members, we talk about talent attraction and retention. Yeah. And I think people look at parks as some of that placemaking that if I'm being recruited to the state, if a job provider is trying to bring me in here, it seems like a really good selling tool for businesses and communities to say, look at the access you have to the outdoors.
It absolutely is. And, when we talk about attracting young people to the state of Michigan and keeping young people in the state of Michigan, public parks are such a critical part of that. People want to be outdoors. They want to be on their bikes in the morning. They want a great place to run. They want to be able to take their paddleboard out on the lake or launch their kayak onto the river. They want to be able to meet their friends, right?
Yeah, we're such a health-conscious society now, but also I think especially after COVID, people have come back around to how important connections are.
100%.
And connecting with people outdoors where you're just having fun and you're being active, it really gives people an outlet to form those communities, which we all want. We want strong communities across the state.
It is so important. And, we host hundreds of events at the Metro Parks every single year. Everything from cross-country meets for high school and college kids to scouting events. We are hosting the World Disc Golf Championship at Kensington in August. And that is bringing people from all over the planet to Kensington Metro Parks. The hotels, the Airbnbs are all booked for that tournament. The eyes of the world will quite literally be on Kensington Metro Park.
What a great forward-facing thing for Michigan to have that to the rest of the world and people coming in for that activity. Well, it sounds like, and we'll get more into it, but it sounds like you have a big job. Was this always the goal? Did you just happen into parks management, or how did you get to your role in leadership?
Oh, so I took a little bit of a winding turn or trail on my way to parks. I started out wanting to be in international business because I had been an exchange student in high school, and I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I had a summer job in my hometown working with kids with disabilities in a summer recreation program. And I was like, oh, no. This is really what I want to do. And over a period of time, I had a much better understanding of how park systems operate and the role that we play in our communities. And that's how I ended up here.
Where'd you do your exchange studies?
I was in Switzerland with Youth for Understanding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now, did that experience have any impact? Like, do they have a park system there? Are people more outdoorsy? Was there something that connected you from that experience to where you ultimately ended up?
That experience was just one of the most incredible adventures of my life. I was so very fortunate to be able to do that. My dad worked for Dow Corning, and Dow Corning sponsored 3 kids nationally every year to go be exchange students with Youth for Understanding. And I had a wonderful family there that I still am super close to. We traveled back and forth over the years, and I was last there a couple of years ago. I think really that the way that experience shaped me was this idea that anything is possible. Every dream that you have is something that you can achieve. I grew up in Midland, Michigan. I was a middle-class kid, and this idea, particularly in that point in time, of being able to travel the world, to get a scholarship, to go, to compete with other people and do that successfully, really just... it struck a chord to me. It was something that my parents had always told me as a kid. Like, if you work hard enough, you can make things happen. I don't think they meant be the president of the United States sort of thing. But I've always really been able to keep that at my center, and I'm just so grateful to my parents for that.
That's what we want for kids too.
Right?
We don't want them so insulated. And I look at this, from whether it's academics or travel sports, we seem to be pigeonholing young people into, you have to devote 100% of your time to only this activity. And we want people that are well-rounded and broad-based, and I want them to have experiences and really become an interesting person.
I absolutely agree. And, to kind of bring that back to being outdoors, there is so much to learn and connect to and understand and be inspired to do. At the Metroparks, we have a program called Supplemental Science, and our interpretive teams go into classrooms, and they're there all year long, and they teach kids about the science of the outdoors. And so we have, at the end of the year, we collect all of these comments from them, and they usually start going, I didn't think I liked science, and I didn't really see myself doing this. And then by the end of the year, after they've had that opportunity to learn how all of these things connect to each other and where they belong in the natural world, we're always hearing, hey, I'm thinking about a career in science. Hey, I want to be part of making the outdoors a better place. I want to be a good steward. I want to talk to my family and my friends about that. And so it's a really powerful thing.
Yeah, I never thought about parks employees interacting with schools.
Yeah.
It seems like a natural connection point, but it just never crossed my mind that what a great resource.
Oh, we have tens of thousands of school kids who visit the Metroparks every single year, and then we do programs in classrooms. And so we are always somewhere connecting with particularly elementary school kids, public school systems, private school systems, homeschooled kids. We have programs specifically for them. So building that future generation of park stewards is a big, important part of what we do.
How important is that for you just personally to build that next generation, to inspire somebody to see that light bulb go off and say, hey, there may be a path for me here?
I think that's really everything, right? Because as you were talking about before, kids need to have an opportunity to see what their future can be and how they play a role in preserving the natural environment and making the world a better place and creating jobs for people, right? And so having that interaction directly with kids, providing opportunities for families to do something in the park. Maybe you think, Kensington is 5 1,000 acres. That's a lot. But if you go, I can go to Kensington and participate in this program with my child or with my friends. It all of a sudden makes it feel very familiar, and you come back over and over again.
Yeah, I know my children are older now. They're 23 and 24, but it was through my children that also connected me as an adult.
Yeah.
I would take them to maybe an educational learning situation and going to a park or going to a nature center. And then I would get the benefit of it as well just by participating with them. It's a great way for families to learn together.
Absolutely. And build those memories that are part of being a member of a family, of being part of a community, of having that circle of friends.
Yeah, well, I think the word you used earlier that really resonates with me in a lot of areas is stewardship.
Absolutely.
That there is just something that in our time here, we need to be good stewards of the resources we have. And we need to use them efficiently and wisely. And maintaining parks is just another way that people can get involved to make sure we have that green space. It's so important because it's a physical health, a mental health, a community benefit, a talent attraction, an economic development tool. It just hits all the marks for so many people.
You are speaking my language. Absolutely. Parks pay off. They pay off in higher property values. They pay off in filtering stormwater through systems, in bringing people to communities to live there, to work there, to come to a disc golf championship event and spend that money in their hotels. The economic impact of parks in every community is extraordinary.
How much is your world, we talk a lot about being outdoors and the interaction with the environment. How much of the world for you and your staff is changing because of technology? Is it change how you maybe operate a park, how you design a park, how the consumers or the citizens interact at the park?
So certainly technology has a really important role to play on the business side of the work that we do, right? So operating a $70+ million budget every year requires a tremendous amount of technical resources, making certain that your golf courses have the best reservation system that they can so that you're able to meet people's needs and accommodate the level of play that we need to have. We utilize technology as part of that stewardship effort when we do things like analyze our carbon footprint. And right now we're working to determine how best we can manage our equipment to have the least impact on the environment. We have our own IT department, and they're really extraordinarily great at the work they do. And certainly like the technical side of communication, right? I don't think you'll find a better website anywhere than the Metroparks, metroparks.com, in case you're wondering. Yeah. So that ability to reach people, to interact with people, to help people learn and be connected, across social media platforms, all of that is a tremendously important part of the work that we do.
We'll make sure we disseminate that information, but I think it's important. You're talking about disc golf and other things. Where can people go to find out about your events? Oh,
metroparks.com. It's super easy to utilize our website. You can learn everything about the Metroparks from that website, our programs, our parks. We have great maps on that website. You can learn about some of the initiatives that we're working on, some of the partnerships that we have, testimony from people who regularly use the Metroparks and how the experience has really been life-changing for people, right?
Yeah. How many employees do you have? Because you run a very diverse, large organization.
We do. We have... right now, we have about 205 full-time employees. And at the height of the summer, like now, we have 1,001. It was 1,001 last week. I checked seasonal and part-time employees.
Oh, good. And those very range. I'm assuming you have golf professionals, engineers, naturists, people running your business side, all across the spectrum?
100%. So we have our own police department, which not everybody knows, right? So the Metroparks Police Department is the best place to be a police officer. We have our park operations, our park maintenance people, right, who keep everything running. We have a natural resources department that manages not just our forestry, but all of sort of the ecological side of the work that we do. We have our interpretive programs, which include our nature centers and our farm centers and all of those school-based programs that we talked about. Engineers, accounting, IT, marketing and communications. It's a big organization.
Well, with so many different parts of the organization. There's so many different personalities. You need so many different skill sets. As the leader, how do you develop culture? How do you take all these different parts and bring them together, united around mission, but also united in culture of what you want to kind of put forth as an employee of the Metroparks?
So we describe it as the Metroparks magic because there really is something about working for a system that has such a place in the region, right? And people who are drawn to employment at the Metroparks really are connected to that mission. They have a passion for the work that they do, and we work really hard to make certain that everyone is connected to that mission, right? And so they can see the outcomes of the work that they do and how that helps our communities be these great, thriving places to live and work. I was talking to our CEO this morning and congratulating her on another great audit. It was no surprise. Our audits are always great. But we talked about the role that has in the public trust, right? Because part of our budget, a little more than half of our budget does come from tax dollars. And it's important that we are operating in the most professional and responsible way to make certain that people are getting the best return from their investment.
Yeah. I would assume, too, with a large workforce, there are generational differences. Is that require unique skill set to manage? You have to manage somebody different from generational? Does that create problems, or is it just opportunities to do things differently and communicate differently?
I think all of those things are true, right? I started my career in Parks and Recreation in college, right? So I was in my early 20s, and it was a different time to be in your early 20s than now, and have grown over the years. And I remember really what it was like to grow up in a profession and what it took in terms of support and mentorship and all of those sorts of things. So yeah, there are always generational differences, right? Yep. I have 3 25-year-old nieces, and the world for them now is very different than it was for me when I was 25. And so I try really hard to make sure that we keep that in mind at every level of leadership, because these are the people that we want them to come back and seek full-time employment with the Metroparks. We want them to help us continue to build our connections at the community level. Our employees are both employees and their constituents, right? Because they live in the 5 counties where our parks are located. So that all comes together in a really specific way to create that Metroparks magic.
How does that operate? Because you have 5 counties. Do they work together? Do they operate independently? Is there any overlap in how you kind of govern the different parks with? Because each county has a different governing structure as well. I assume they want their say in some of this.
Well, the Metroparks are an authority, so we're really our own form of government that includes all 5 counties. And our park system is divided into 3 separate districts. Okay. And there's a person who leads each of those districts, but really we function as an organization. And so absolutely, our decisions made at the park level, of course, we don't want to micromanage everyone's daily operations, but we have policies and processes and expectations and goals for the system. And so when we talk about our mission to serve all of the people, all of their lives, we do that as an organization.
How the people that utilize the parks, are there desires or wants in the park? Are they constantly changing? Do you have to spend a lot of your time as a leader of the organization kind of visioning what the future is of the parks 3, 5, 7, 10 years down? Because anything you're going to do in the future, you have to start planning now, or thinking, or fundraising, or just figuring out what's possible.
So there are so many layers to that question. The first, though, what do people want in the parks? And so we regularly survey folks from throughout the region to make sure that we are that we're meeting the needs and the expectations, the wants and the desires of folks, both at a programmatic level and a park level, in terms of what kind of facilities are in the parks. In some ways, those priorities haven't changed a lot over the years. People's interest and commitment to some of those has broadened and deepened. So in Southeast Michigan, what always comes up first, trails, and more trails, right? And trails mean all kinds of different things to different people. We've seen a really heightened interest since the pandemic in nature trails. We've seen a very big increase in people who want programming on the trails that they can do with their dogs. Because we have so many people have dogs after the pandemic. So we try to get down to that level. Beaches are always a really high priority. Anything that's an aquatic facility in southeastern Michigan is a high priority. And then we've seen people focus in more in recent years to talk about some of those functions like stormwater management, because stormwater management is part of their daily lives. In the metro parks, people want to make certain that we are balancing our active use areas, those beaches, those trails, those playgrounds, those camping areas, with preserving and being great stewards of the natural areas too. So it's a wide variety of things in which people are interested, into which they are committed.
As you know, I'm assuming not only is every day different for you, but probably every 10 to 15 minutes is different for you. It's a constantly changing. How would you describe your leadership style?
So my leadership style, I have a philosophy, and I'm going to make it a little bit more radio friendly, but it starts with not being a jerk, right? So being respectful of the people that work for the Metro Parks, being respectful of the people who come to the Metro Parks, understanding that my experience is different than everyone else's. And it's always about connecting back to that mission. We understand that we might have a different approach to how we do that, but communicating that approach to our workforce, making certain that people are treated fairly, people are treated equitably, people have an expectation that there are going to be opportunities for them as they continue to advance in their career. Those are the things that we really try to focus on to have a great work environment at the Metro Parks. Yeah,
you always want to make sure that you can take those employees and let them professionally grow and expand and hopefully retain them. I'm assuming you're no different than any other business. It's much better to retain your workforce than constantly turning them over and having to retrain people.
And this is one of the areas where the Metro Parks really shines, to be that we're really proud of. You know, people who start a career with the Metro Parks often spend their entire career at the Metro Parks because they are connected to the places that they work. They are connected to the outcomes of the work that we do and the way that it impacts people throughout the region. And we work hard to be a really great place. It is not uncommon for someone to move from to have a goal, and if they're parks and recreation professionals, to ultimately move to the Metro Parks as an organization, right? Because we have so many opportunities to do so many great things.
I think that's one of the best compliments a leader can get is just looking at retention rates. If you can keep those people, that means you're probably doing a pretty good job at the top of the organization. It sounds like you are. If your people are staying around, that, your philosophy, don't be a jerk. Yeah. Unfortunately, that seems like that should be common sense, but it really isn't.
Yeah, I have a little bit more colorful way of describing it in other settings, but certainly a tremendous amount of the commitment to being a leader is to having that vision for the organization, right? For us, it's really all grounded in service, but it has to start with doing the right thing for people, doing the right thing for the organization, having the courage to do that when it's uncomfortable, and the commitment to staying the course.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever the wrong thing to do the right thing.
Thank you.
It's always just the best. And as you just said, I think you rightfully pointed out, what's best for the organization. We can all look at our own individual fiefdoms or what benefits us personally, but what is best for our employees, for our citizens, for the community, for the organization as a whole?
That's what we're here to do, right? The Metro Parks are a public organization. And a lot of times over my career, people have said to me, "Oh, you're in politics." I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm in government. Yeah. And to me, government is all about service, right? That is why we exist. That is who we are. We are meant to provide the greatest return on those tax dollars that people invest in us. We are there to help build communities. We are there to support local business. We are all of those things, and we take that really seriously at the Metroparks.
Yeah, I think you hit a perfect point there too, between government and politics. They used to be similar and really strongly connected. Now they seem to be so disparate that government and service and doing the right thing and helping people is completely devoid or different from politics now. And I think that's unfortunate because I think people do kind of have a belief of, oh, you're in government that you are in politics. That's just not true.
We are not at the Metroparks. We are a nonpartisan organization. Yep. Partisan politics have no role in the work that we do. We do have really great relationships.
Me, my dog and cat and my bicycle manufacturer, everybody doesn't care what my politics are if I'm coming to the park?
I would hope not. Darn it. And, you know, on the other side of that, I do have to say we are really lucky that we have some really tremendous leaders at the local and the county level. For example, Mark Hackle in Macomb County, Warren Evans, Dave Coulter, each of those people have made a real commitment to public parks in their region. They are great partners with us. We're really excited by our partnerships with the city of Detroit. We have a program called Everyone in the Pool, and we are partnering with school systems and counties and cities and a couple of nonprofits, the Wise, to teach kids how to swim. Because kids in southeastern Michigan, over 60% of kids in southeastern Michigan don't know how to swim. And so we've been able to build these relationships with some really incredible community leaders where we have those common interests in making those communities better. So seriously, there's no better place to be the CEO of a park system than the Metroparks.
Has there been a specific event or person that has shaped your leadership style and your belief as you came up and you've had different roles? Is there something where it really just solidified in you, this is how I'm gonna operate if I'm ever sitting at the top of the organization?
We were talking a little bit earlier about how we change and grow as leaders over time. And I started in my career as the director of the City of Ypsilanti Parks Department when I was 26 years old, which is really young, right? And to be in that role. And over the course of time, whether it was the City of Ypsilanti or Genesee County, and certainly now at the Metroparks, I have had the great privilege of having some incredible mentors. Some of them who are still with us and some of them who are no longer with us. And they took that time. They were patient with me as a young person who, thought I knew absolutely everything there was to know about everything, and helping me stay on track and grow in a way that I could pay attention to. And I am so tremendously grateful to them. And then, I had really great parents. Yeah. I had really great parents. So I've just been so lucky in that way my entire life.
It's just, you can't overestimate how important it is to have a good mentor or that guiding person in your life. With your leadership team or your people in the field, because you are over so many parks, over 5 counties, how important, or how do you look at, or how do you mentor your leadership team to make sure they're mentoring the people below them?
So a lot of it is spending time, right? It's like making the time, spending the time. And that is a big part of what I do. For example, when I come into the office every morning, I say hello to absolutely everyone in my building. Every morning, because I want to check in with them. I want them to know who I am. I want them to know that my door is open and they really can come in and talk to me and they can share ideas. We have forums to do that. I like to spend time not being the CEO in the parks too, right? Going out in my t-shirt and my sneakers and enjoying the parks, and also checking with people where they're at. So I hope all of those things make us, our entire leadership team, accessible to people at every level of the organization.
Yeah, I think accessibility is key. You have to have that. Everybody likes to say they have an open door policy, but when somebody comes in, do Do you put the phone down? Do you shut the computer? You sit there and look at them in the eye and have a conversation, or are you just placating whatever they're saying?
It's so fun. I have staff people who've told me like, oh yeah, the last organization I was at, everybody, or the CEO said they had an open door. It's like, you actually have an open door? Like, yes, I do. Yeah. Here's your seat. I'm listening.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest surprise in your role? Has anything ever just shocked you, or really kind of you looked and said, how the heck did that happen, or how did we get here? Good or bad. It could be something real positive.
Well, I've been doing this a really long time in a number of places. So I don't know that anything has the ability to shock me anymore, right? Because humans are humans and we all have our quirks, and every once in a while we come up with something that's really original. Certainly the thing that was a surprise to all of us, and I don't think anyone saw coming, was the pandemic, yep. Right? And all of the challenges that came with that, all of the things that people suffered. For us at the Metroparks, one of the things it really did was it re-energized that commitment to our mission, right? Yep. When we were able to see how important it was for people to be able to get out and be together safely somewhere, and to recommit to being in nature, to recommit to being on the golf course. Yeah. My gosh, people, you can't imagine how golf has grown since that time. So, in the midst of all of those things, I think the thing that was probably most surprising to us was the good that came from the really bad and terrible. Which is
really tremendous when it does happen, because if we work hard enough, we look deep enough, if we take the time to see what's happening, you can find good. There always is a silver lining if you're willing to look for it. Absolutely. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I think it goes back to just that for my parents, just the work hard and believe you can do something. That core belief in yourself is really, I think that has helped me move through my entire life. Sometimes it might have been a misplaced belief in myself, but because
sometimes that hubris is good, though. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, and sometimes it's good not to see all the distractions or challenges around you if you think you're just charting your course.
Yeah, I had such faith in my parents that it would have never occurred to me as a kid when my parents said, if, work hard, believe in yourself, that there was anything except the absolute truth in that. And so that's really guided me my entire life.
I'm sure it's hard. And, it's like when somebody asks a parent, hey, who's your favorite child? But what is your favorite thing to do in a metro park?
So
if you're going to spend your day, what are you going to do?
I might have said before, I don't know if I told this story, I did my college internship at Lake St. Clair Metro Park, which was then called Metro Beach Metro Park. Lots of people still call it Metro Beach, and I'm 100% there for that. And this sounds really ridiculous, but my favorite thing is because Lake St. Clair is my home park, is just like rolling into the park, getting out of my car in that moment where I step on the plaza and I look out and I see the lake and I see the entire park, and just that feeling that goes with it is extraordinary. And then in our parks, whenever I'm out in the park, my favorite thing is always to be on the nature trails, right? Just, the connection to there is extraordinary. Even during the winter time, and I'm not a winter person, I love to drive through Kensington from Milford Road to my office, which is at Kensington Road, and just see the light.
Yeah.
So I am always filled with wonder and awe when I'm in the Metro Parks.
What do you hope, if an employee leaves the Metro Parks, or even if they're just talking to somebody and that person is asked about your leadership style, what do you hope they say about your leadership style?
I hope that the thing that most impresses our employees always, whether they stay with the Metro Parks or leave and goes to some other system, is the passion for the Metro Parks and the commitment to the Metro Parks that we have, and our commitment to just seriously that line of our mission statement, to serve all of the people, all of their lives. That's what I hope people leave the Metro Parks with.
It's a great summation. Last question, as we're running out of time. It always goes too quickly. If you could leave people, whether they're a policymaker, whether they're a person using the park, somebody who's never even thought of going to a park, what's the one thing that you want them to know about the Huron-Clinton Metroparks?
25,000 acres, one thing. What I want everyone to know about the Metroparks is you are welcome at the Metroparks. You are safe at the Metroparks. You will connect with nature in an extraordinary way every time you visit the Metroparks.
Oh, what a great way to close a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amy McMillan, CEO of the Huron-Clinton Metroparks. I really enjoyed this conversation. There's so much there. It's not just about parks and outdoor recreation, but about building culture, leading with purpose, recognizing that the places we invest in today help shape the kind of Michigan we want tomorrow. As always, thank you for listening to My Business Matters. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss more about the issues and leaders shaping Michigan's future. Until next time, I'm Jim Holcomb.